everybody, it's Kelsee Briana J, and welcome to the highly anticipated and never duplicated Battle of the Concealers video. And this is a video that I have been working on for quite some time now, because whenever I do these videos, it takes me a while to thoroughly test out these concealers. And then once I've gotten well acquainted with them, I come on and I do a wear test using the concealers. I give you all the background information about the concealers, and then I come through with the score, letting you know how it ranks up against other popular concealers of the moment. So I have 7 concealers that I'm going to be testing out in this video, and I'm going to put them through rigorous testing. So there is a criteria here, and because I am calling this the battle of the concealers, I like to keep some constants, so that way each concealer has the same chance to shine as the last one. And so the constants are products that I use each and every day as I'm testing out these concealers, and you guys will see in the video every day my eye makeup and other color products on my face will change, but my complexion is pretty much going to be the same. And I like to do this test back to back to back. That way my skin is not totally different for whatever reason, because you all already know I test out a lot of products. So I like to do this where there's some sort of consistency, and so I keep the products consistent too. So every day when I wake up, I use the same face wash, moisturizer, and eye cream. And these are the products. You all already know I love Tatcha, so I kept it in the family. So face wash, I'm using the Tatcha, the Deep Cleanse, every single day before I test out these products. For moisturizer, I'm using the Tatcha, the water cream, and I let this really penetrate in the skin before I go in with my makeup. I at least give it 30 minutes before I begin my makeup. And then for eye cream, I give it the same amount of time. This is the Tatcha, the Silk Peony Eye Cream, and this is what I use every single day for each one of these concealers. And I use the same base products. So the foundation that I use every day is by the Beauty Bakery. This one is the Instant Bake Aquaglass Foundation, and I apply this foundation every single day in the same way. I always go in with my sponge, and this is my Kelsee sponge. It's actually dirty because I used it right before I filmed this portion of the video. So that's the sponge that I use for this and for the concealer and to set the concealer. And I always use the same powder products. That way the concealers don't have any reason as to why one would be different than the other. So I use my Laura Mercier translucent powder and my MAC mineralized skin finish. And like I said, I will switch it up with the color products. So I might have on a different blush, I might have on a different lip, but overall these are the constants of this experiment. So each day I'm testing out a new concealer. Like I said, I am testing out 7 different concealers in this video right here. So coming to the stage are the concealers that are going to be participating in this battle. And you will find out at the end of this video who will be America's best concealer. No, I'm just kidding. So the first concealer that I am battling it out with is the Beautyblender Bounce Airbrush Liquid Whip Concealer. Next is the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Concealer. We got the Too Faced Peach Perfect Instant Coverage Concealer. So then we have the Dior Forever 24-Hour Wear Caring Full Coverage Creamy Concealer. The Zoeva Authentic Skin Perfector. The Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. And lastly, we have Mother Pat's Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Concealer. So I am so excited that one, I'm done with this video, and I always feel so accomplished when I finish these videos, but I'm very excited to share this process with you all. This process is super fun. I have a criteria that I made myself. Yes, I made a criteria, and I've been doing this video type for a few years now, so you can go back and see some of the other concealers that have battled it out, who've been in the duels. So for each concealer, I judge it using 6 different categories, and in each category you can score a 1, 2, or 3. So say for instance the first category is smoothness, so you can get a score of 1 for not smooth, 2 for somewhat smooth, or 3 very smooth or smooth like butter. So following that category is coverage. You can score a 1 for little to no coverage, a 2 for medium to medium buildable coverage, or a 3 for full coverage. Now this category, you are scored on it. However, this one doesn't really affect the scoring, because some concealers are not going to be full coverage, and that's not their intended purpose. So I take this one and I give give it a little bit of leniency. The next category is dryness. You can score a 1 for very dry, a 2 for somewhat dry, or 3 for very hydrating / moisturizing. It could be either or to earn a 3. And the next category is blendability. You can get a 1 for not blendable, 2 for somewhat blendable, a little bit stiff, or a 3 for it blends like butter. And then after I do that, I do an 8-hour wear test for each concealer, and I come back every 2 hours and give you guys updates and let you all see how the concealer is wearing. And then at the end of the day, I have 2 more categories. So the 5th category is creasability. We need to see how this concealer is wearing. It could get a 1 for it creases like a mofo. You can get a 2 for it creases just a little bit more than I like. And then for a 3, you can have minimal creasing because you have to be realistic. Under eyes sometimes are gonna crease depending on the formulation. You're not always gonna have the smoothest of the smooth, but as long as it doesn't crease too badly, / you definitely get a 3 if you don't crease, but I'm a little bit lenient there because like I said, I am realistic. So a 3 means minimal creasing / you don't really crease at all. And then the last category, which is, I think, very, very important, which is wear time. How did this concealer wear? You can get a 1 for, ew, get this off of me. It's horrible. It needs to come off of my face expeditiously. You can get a 2 for, it looks pretty decent, average, it's all right. And then you can get a 3 for, it's looking pretty dang on good. So those are the score categories, and then at the end of the night, I add up each score. I add up all 6 of them, and then I divide it by 6, and that is how I get the final score average. I'm going to test out all 7 of these concealers, 7 concealers, 7 days. This is a totally different day. I'm actually not testing out a concealer today. I'm just doing the intro and the outro. So this current Kelsee with this face, I'm going to see you all the way at the end of the video, and I'm going to have the total score for each of the concealers, and then I'm going to rank them based on their score, and then I'm going to rank them based on which ones I prefer. So I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I know that it is a long one, but hopefully it helps anybody out there who didn't really know which concealer they wanted to try, because this one is going to give you a crash course into the concealers. So let's go ahead and get into it. Enjoy, y'all. Welcome to the Battle of the Concealer Extravaganza. And today I am testing out the first concealer that is going to compete for the best concealer out of all of them. Yes, I'm that dramatic. The concealer that I'm testing out today is the Dior Forever Skin Corrects Concealer, and this is actually my second time testing out this concealer on my channel. Initially, I tested it out in a Get Ready With Me, but I had a different color. Now I have a new color. But I still think this concealer has a lot of buzz around it, so I'm testing it out again today. So this concealer retails for $36, and it has 11 milliliters of product, or 0.37 fluid ounces of product. The color that I have is 3W, and initially I had 3N, which is 3 neutral. Now this one is 3 warm. And it says that this color is intended for light medium skin with warm yellow undertones. So I have it on now. So is it? There are 28 shades of this concealer available. Here's what the packaging looks like. I think it looks really cute, very sleek, very Dior, honey. Very luxe. It looks just like the foundation. So the details of this concealer read that this is a 24-hour wear, multi-purpose, full coverage creamy concealer that corrects and hides under eye circles, redness, blemishes, and imperfections. It says that the coverage of this concealer is full, the finish is natural, the formulation is liquid, and the skin types that this concealer are for are normal, dry, combination, and oily. Some of the key ingredients in this concealer are wild pansy, which helps to visibly smooth and moisturize the complexion. And it says that you can wear this concealer for up to 24 hours, and it says that it's going to help smooth, moisturize, and improve your complexion. So I'm excited to be testing out this concealer again in an all new shade. So let's go ahead and get into the demonstration. I'm going to show you all how the concealer wears, and then after the demonstration I'll come back and I will do my initial scoring, and then I'll do a wear test for 8 hours. Yes, 8 long hours, because it's already kind of late today. But your girl will be testing for 8 hours, and I'll come back every 2 hours and let you guys see the updates. So stay tuned, and this is going to be a wild ride. Alright, so let me go ahead and apply my concealer. So Get it going good. Yes, clean up this under eye, please. A little bit on my chin. Let me even out with some on my forehead. So now I'm going to blend this out using my Kelsee sponge, and I don't have it too damp. I squoze it underneath the water, and then I made sure to kind of let it sit for a little while. So it's the perfect level of dampness. So I'm going to blend out my chin first. Blend it out beautifully. Let me blend out my forehead next. So now let me blend out my under eye, and I like to take the pointed side of the sponge to do so, and I like to blend rather quickly. Smooth that product out. Yes. Okay, so here's what the concealer looks like unset. I think it looks really nice, very smooth. It definitely gave me a lifted look. I look a lot more awake. I'm going off of only 3 or 4 hours of sleep today. That's becoming a very bad habit, but at least I don't have to look like what I'm going through. But let me go ahead and set this and finish off the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I have my concealer on and everything is set, and this is what we're looking like. I will have all of my makeup details listed down below for each day. So if you're interested in any of my makeup, look there. So let's do our initial scoring. So as far as the smoothness of this concealer, I'm going to give it a 3. It is a very, very smooth formula. It glides on and it feels like butter. It feels very much so like a whipped cream, and I like that. As far as the coverage, I'm going to say 3. This is a full coverage concealer. You can definitely sheer it out by using less, but if you apply a typical amount of concealer to your under eye or all over your face, you're going to get full coverage. As far as dryness, I'm going to say that this concealer gets a 3 because it doesn't feel dry at all. It feels very hydrating and very emollient, almost a little moisturizing, but it doesn't have a lot of slip to it and it doesn't feel oily, but it still ranks 3 in my book. And as far as blendability, 3. This concealer blends like butter. You guys saw how it blended in the demonstration. I just got it to blend on out, and here's what we're looking like. This concealer has a little whip appeal. So I'm going to wear it around for the next 8 hours, and then I will come back every 2 hours and give you guys a check-in so you all can see what the concealer is looking like. You all need an update, I know. So I'll check back in, and then at the end of the night, I'll come back and give you guys the final score. So stay tuned. It's going to be a long day. I have a lot of work to do, so I'm about to get to it. Holla. Okay, love, so I am back, and it has been 2 hours since I initially put on this concealer, and I'm ready to do my first check-in. So my under eye is as smooth as it can possibly be. I see minimal creasing. I think my under eye looks healthy. It looks vibrant. It doesn't look too far off from when I initially applied it, so I'm happy about how everything is wearing. So I'm going to continue to wear it around for the next 6 hours, and I'll come back in 2 more hours and let you guys see the update. And I think at the 4th hour is when you see the biggest difference in the wear of your makeup. I think it'll be a little bit more wear there in 2 more hours, but I'll check you guys then and we'll assess. So far, so good though. So y'all, I am currently making dinner. I have to put my hair up. I forgot to say that the last time. I took off my earrings because right now, y'all are not going to believe how late it is. You're not going to believe it. It's 9 o'clock. I know. And I tried so hard throughout this entire experiment, as you guys will see, to try to get up early to do this, but it didn't work. So throughout this entire video, pretty much I am checking in late every time. But it's now my 4-hour check-in, and I'm in a good mood because my under eyes look smooth. I feel like my makeup still looks popping, and it's definitely lifting up my spirits because right now, I feel like I have so much on my plate right now. I do, but my makeup looks good though. But I'll check you guys in 2 more hours. So I don't project that my makeup is going to look too much different in 2 more hours, but we'll see. It could. I find that if it's not too much different on the 4th hour for me personally, then it's not going to be that much different at 6. We'll see some things. We'll keep testing things out. So I'll check you all in a minute. So it's been 6 hours and I'm starting to get sleepy, y'all. I gotta keep up. I gotta stay up. Okay. My concealer keep me awake. My under eye still looks really good. Like I said, it's been 6 hours. I feel like this ponytail just keeps on slipping every time. We started off with my hair down and then I had to bring it on up. But this concealer is still holding on. It's still intact. There have been no changes. I think that it still looks super smooth. I still have extremely minimal creasing. And for this to have been on for as long as it's been on, I'm impressed. In 2 more hours, I'm going to come back and we can do our final score. Okay? I'll see you all in 2. Can you tell it's been 8 hours? By the messiness of my ponytail, by the greasiness of my face, by the raspiness of my voice. No, I'm just kidding. But it's been 8 hours and I am ready to do my final scoring, and I'm very tired right now. It took everything for me not to just rip off these lashes and wash my face, and I'm like, Kelsee, slow your roll, poo. You need to get on here and finish off this portion. This is always so hard for me. Okay. So as far as the creasability of this concealer, you are not the father. 3, this concealer does not crease at all. It never folded. This concealer stayed down. This concealer did the dang on thing. It was loyal. It was dependable. It was there for me. And I feel like even though I've had this makeup on for 8 hours, I've cooked dinner, I've done laundry, I've done all type of things around the house. And this concealer still is a ride or die. It looks good. That brings me to my last point. The wear time of this concealer, and you already know I gotta give it a 3. I love the way that this concealer looks. I feel like it wears exceptionally well. It barely creases. It's still there. It's giving me a level of smoothness that you just can't ask for anything more. So I'm excited that I'm off to a great start. Here's a little secret, guys. Even though this is the first concealer that I'm testing in this video, this is the last one that I actually tested in real life. So let me just give you all a little FYI. Every concealer is not going to end like this at the end of 8 hours. So you are in for a treat, I guess. But yeah, I'm excited about this one. This one ended off on a high note. So with that being said, here's the final score for this concealer. So the concealer that we're trying out today is the Pat McGrath Sublime Perfection Concealer, and this is a concealer that I've talked about quite a few times on my channel, but I definitely wanted to include it in this video today because I know so many people are interested in it, so it had to go head to head with the rest, right? So this is what the packaging looks like. Really nice, sleek Pat McGrath type packaging in the black box, and this concealer retails for $32. This concealer has 5 milliliters of product, or 0.16 fluid ounces of product, and I have the color M15, and M stands for medium. So this concealer has different shade categories broken down into groups. So the first category is light, and in this category there are 7 colors, and then we have light medium. That one also has 7 colors. My category is medium. This one has 7 categories. Following that is medium deep. That category has 7 colors. And lastly, we have the deep category, and that one has 8 colors. So that brings the total shades of this concealer to 36 different colors. So the description of this concealer summarized from Pat McGrath's website says that this concealer has a creamy full coverage and natural radiant matte finish. It also says that this mimics skin in that it becomes one with the skin, and it mimics its natural stretch and elasticity, sans creasing or caking. No filter required. This concealer has the Vita Serum Complex, which is designed to help fight the formation of wrinkles by preserving the hydrolyphic film barrier of the skin. So I'm excited to be using this concealer yet again. This concealer comes in a really nice glass bottle, and I like the design of it. I think it's very chic. It's very on brand with Pat McGrath. It's super weighty. The only thing that I will say about this is because it's in a glass bottle, be careful, because if you drop it on a hard surface, it's over. I like the design of it, and I like the design of the doe foot. It is a flexible flat doe foot applicator, so it fits in the pockets underneath my eyes, and it's also easy to lay down products wherever else I want to use it on my face. So let's go ahead and get into the demo, and then I will give you guys the initial score. I'm going to wear it around all day, give you guys check-ins, and then at the end of the night, I will give you all the final score for this concealer. So enjoy. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my concealer. So I am ready for it because after this concealer goes on, my look is going to be transformed. So I'm just going to go in with a few swipes. Yes. And here, just a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and blend this out, starting with the chin. And I have had a lot of experience with this concealer. I love the way that it blends out. I'm just going to blend this baby out and lift my under eye. And you all see how easily that blends out, right? Just 1-2 step. I love that. And it gives you a nice amount of coverage. So, just pouncing this all around. So here's what this looks like unset, and it looks very smooth. It looks very radiant. It looks very glowy. It gives you a beautiful amount of coverage. It doesn't look thick, but it's still full coverage at the same time, and it looks just smooth. So I overall love the way that this looks when I initially apply it without even setting it with powders. So I am going to go ahead and set this, and then I'm going to do my initial rankings. Alright guys, so I have my makeup completed. So now let's do our initial scoring. So as far as smoothness, I'm going to give this concealer a 3. This concealer is super smooth. It really irons out my under eye area, and I feel like my under eye looks as smooth as it ever does with this concealer. So it definitely earns a 3 for the application. I feel like it looks very beautiful, very plush, and very luscious. As far as coverage, again, I'm going to give this concealer a 3. This is a full coverage concealer. Now, even though it's a full coverage concealer, you don't have to go full maximum coverage every time you use it. You can definitely scale it back and just use a dot of it, and that'll go a long way. But if you apply this concealer to its full potential, you're going to get full coverage, and it is going to erase anything on your face that you don't want to see. So it can go there if you wanted to. So next is dryness. I'm going to give this concealer a 3. It does not have a dry bone in its body. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's just slipping and sliding all over my face. I feel like it is the perfect amount of moisturizing / hydrating under the eye for me, because it gives you that plumpness, but it does set down and it doesn't settle in fine lines and wrinkles. So I really love the way that it feels. The consistency of it is amazing. Lastly is the blendability, and I'm going to give this a 3. This concealer blends out so effortlessly. As you guys saw when I was blending it out underneath my eye, oh my gosh, it just blends in 1, 2, 3. Any product that I've tried to use in conjunction with this concealer has played well with it. So I really do like that, and I feel like it does blend well. So I'm going to wear this around. I'll be back every 2 hours and give you guys check-ins about how this concealer is wearing. So stay tuned. And then at the end of the day, I will give you guys the rest of the scorings, and then I'll add it up and give you all the final score. So sit tight. Alright guys, so I am back for my first check-in, and it has been 2 hours since I initially applied the Pat McGrath concealer, and my under eye looks pretty much the same as it did when I initially applied it, and I am so excited about that because I have filmed, I've gotten up, and it has taken me about 2 hours to get to this point, and overall I still feel like my makeup is in the same space as it was at first, which is good because that lets you know that you can continue to have on this makeup and it'll still look fresh. And my under eye barely has any creasing. It is not dry at all. It still looks as beautiful as it did 2 hours ago. So right now I am still loving it. I'll check you guys in 2 more hours to let you all see the update. I'm about to go edit a video. I'm about to straighten up a few things, and hopefully my makeup still looks as beautiful as it does right now. So I'll check you all in 2 more hours. So it has been 4 hours, and I am back to do my next check-in, and I think my under eye still looks really, really good. My eye makeup is beginning to drift on down just a little bit. But overall, I think everything still looks intact. I still don't see any heavy creasing. I think my under eye looks very smooth still. I still have coverage. I do feel like my skin is holding up a lot better underneath my eye than it even is on the rest of my face, and that is a true testament to the concealer. So I'll be back in 2 more hours, and then after that I'll be back in 2 more hours, and we can do the final score system. So I'm about to finish making dinner, and I will be back. So I am back and it has been 6 hours, and I do notice a difference in my under eye from the last time when I checked in. I feel like my under eye is still holding up, but I do feel like my wrinkles are starting to pop through just a little bit. I feel like my under eye is a little bit drier than the rest of my face, and that's because I think that this concealer has a lot longer wearing power than the foundation does. The rest of my face has oils breaking through, but my under eye still is the same amount of matte-ness as it was a few hours ago. So there is a difference in the texture on my skin, but I still think it looks good. If I had to go out right now with my under eye looking the way that it does, I would be okay with it. I think it looks very smooth still, but it is starting to wear just a little bit. But from afar, you can't tell that at all. I still think it looks fantastic. All right, guys, so I am back, and it has been 8 very long hours, and I'm ready to do my final ratings. So my under eye, I think, still looks pretty good. So as far as creaseability, I'm gonna give this concealer a 3. I honestly would say I have like little to no creasing. After I've had this concealer on for 8 hours, I barely see any lines coming through, and that's basically unheard of for me. So I'm extremely happy with that. And as far as wear time, again, this concealer is gonna get a 3 from me. This concealer wears exceptionally well. I feel like out of all of my makeup on my face, my concealer has worn the best because it's been on for a long time. I've done a lot of things today, and my under eye is still intact. I feel like there's barely any signs of wear. So here is the final score of this concealer. So the concealer that we're testing out today is by Beautyblender, and this one is the Bounce Airbrush Liquid Whip Concealer. This concealer retails for $26. This concealer has 0.27 ounces of products, or 8 milliliters of products, and here is what the container looks like. The wand of this concealer is very unique because it has a rounded, almost doe foot applicator, but it's a thicker doe foot applicator. And then on the other side, it does have a flat part to where you can really lay down the products. So I have the color 3.70 Warm Olive Tan Honey in this concealer. And there are 40 different colors available for this formulation, which is a lot. I've really never seen a concealer have that many color options, so that's pretty cool. But some of the key claims for this concealer are that it is a weightless, full coverage concealer that uses hyaluronic acid and peptides to create a smooth, undetectable finish. The coverage of this concealer is stated to be full, the finish is stated to be natural, and the formulation of this concealer is a liquid. This concealer is said to work for normal dry combination and oily skin types, and the tetrapeptide is known to reduce the appearance of puffiness, brightens and moisturizes the eye area for a more supple, youthful looking appearance over time. This concealer also has HD effects pigments that help to illuminate the skin to instantly achieve the perception of a flawless skin tone. So I'm excited to show you guys this concealer in action, and let's go ahead and get into that. And following that, you already know I'm going to be scoring it. So let's go ahead and apply our concealer. Ooh. Pop this on. It's kind of hard to get the wand in and out of the concealer. So I feel like that's a nice amount of concealer. So now let me blend this out. So I always like to blend out the concealer on my chin first. I feel like, because if the concealer is going to dry down, I don't want to have a big old splotch on my chin. And then next I go right into the center and blend that out. Let me flip this sponge over and blend out my under eye. So here's what the first layer of the concealer looks like. It looks very smooth. It blended out very easily, but I do want to add just a little bit more. So let me get right in here and let me blend this out. So that built upon itself very easily. I think the coverage amount looks good. I feel like my under eye looks very smooth and I don't see through the concealer. So I like the way that it looks with just a little bit more than just the first initial layer of concealer. It doesn't look creasy, it doesn't look cakey or anything like that. So now let me go ahead and set it with my powder. So make sure that it's completely smooth, and then let me go in with my Laura Mercier. Very smooth. I like that. It's set down nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be right back and we can do our initial scoring. Alright loves, so here's what my makeup looks like. Everything is finished. Of course, all of the details will be down in the description box, but I have this concealer set, and let's go ahead and do our scoring system. So as far as smoothness, I'm going to give this concealer a 3. The formulation is very smooth. It doesn't feel gritty or anything like that. It definitely smooths out my under eye, and it has a nice whipped effect like the name states. As far as coverage, I'm going to give this concealer a 2, even though it could be 3 full coverage. Starting off, I did get about a medium buildable amount of coverage, but you can build it up to get full coverage. As we all saw in the demonstration, the first layer, I did see through it a little bit. I could see my skin. I could see a little bit of darkness, but then when I layered it up, I did get full coverage. So that's why I'm going to give it a 2, because it'll go on a little bit more sheer, but you definitely can get the full coverage like what you see here now. Next, as far as dryness, I'm going to give this concealer a 3. I think this concealer feels very moisturizing, very hydrating, but it's still very lightweight at the same time. And next is blendability. I'm going to give this concealer a 3. It blended out very easily. It blended out like butter. So I'm going to wear this around for the next 8 hours. I'll come back every 2 hours and give you guys check-ins, and then at the end of the night I will do my scoring, and then I'll give you all the final score for this concealer. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so I am back for my 2-hour check-in, and I do see some creasalization up in the house. I do see where certain areas on my face are starting to crease, and I'm like, I don't know about all that. I see where some of the concealer is breaking apart and some fine lines are peeking through, and I think the makeup is separating a little bit underneath my eyes. On the rest of my face, it's still intact, but under my eyes, we'll see about that. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see, but I'll check you guys in 2 more hours to see the progress. Hello, I am back with my 4-hour check-in, and I am currently an unhappy camper because I feel like my under eye is very creasy, it's very separated, it looks extremely dry. I've teared up right here, and a little bit of the concealer has separated in that area, and I'm overall not really happy with the way that my under eye looks right now. The rest of my makeup is holding up quite well. My lipstick actually is holding up super well. I have not retouched my lipstick, but yet my under eye looks worse. Right now, I'm not really loving the way that it looks. If it were up to me, I would like to maybe touch it up with a little bit of powder, try to smooth it out, but on its own, it's not holding up very well at all. And I'm only halfway through the wear test. I do still have 4 more hours. So I'll check back in 2 more hours and let you guys see the update. Gloss is on. I'm back. It's been 6 hours. I'm still not a happy camper. I feel like my under eye is even worse than before, and that's to be expected because it is 2 hours later. We were off to a good start. I had full coverage. It looked smooth. It was looking beautiful and luscious, and now 6 hours later, my, how things can change. So let me untuck my chain. You know the man on Friday that used to tuck his chain in when Debo come around? Then when Debo leave, he be talking again. But I'm not. And I do mean I am not feeling the way that my under eye looks. I feel like it looks horrendous. It looks like I've cried a river. I'm just not a fan right now. So I'll check you back in 2 more hours and I will do my final check-in. But things are not looking up. Shall we start? I guess we shall. It's been about 8 hours and I am highly ready to get this off of my face. So let's do our final score, shall we? So, as far as the creaseability of this concealer gets a 1 from me. It creases like a mofo. This concealer was so creasy after about the 1st hour, but you guys know I came back for the check-in at the 2nd hour, and by that time, it was like, what happened to that beautiful, luscious, gorgeous, smooth concealer that I just put on my face 2 hours ago. What happened to it? It went away. That's what it did. It sold me a dream and it said, holla at your player, because after 2 hours, that was over with. So it goes on pretty, but wearing pretty is not what it's good at. So it definitely has garnered the score of a 1. It does not have the longevity that I need, and my under eye looks crease-alicious. I'm not feeling it. And as far as the wear time, I think it goes without saying that this is gonna be a 1. I need this to get off of my face. This is not held up well at all. And this just goes to show that everything that glitters is not gold, because we started off on such a good foot and then we ended here. So we started from the top and now we're here. It's the opposite of starting from the bottom and now we're here. Things just went south so fast, and I'm just really disappointed because my makeup started out looking really pretty, and I'm glad I got some pictures in, because otherwise I would have been like, child, what happened? Like, if I didn't have a picture, I wouldn't have thought that it would have been real, okay? So I am not feeling this. I am not feeling the way that it looks right now. It feels very dry. It's creased up. It went away. Any type of tear that I had on my eye, it just took the concealer away with it. So the longevity of this concealer is non-existent. But if you want a concealer that looks pretty for a limited time only, I mean, there you go. So with that being said, the final score for this concealer is right here. So the concealer that we're testing out today is the Armani Luminous Silk Concealer, and this concealer retails for $38, and it has 12 milliliters of product, or 0.40 fluid ounces. So there are 20 different shades of this concealer, and I have the shade 8. So the color 8 is described as a tan with a neutral undertone. This is my exact color that I wear in the Luminous Silk foundation, and I ordered this concealer so fast when it initially launched that they didn't even have the color 7.5 available, so I just picked 8, even though I could stand to go up a shade for my under eyes. So if you're a person who is close to my complexion, but you're like a half a shade or a shade darker than me, then 8 will be your perfect color for underneath your eyes. But for me, this is the same color as my foundation, and so it blends in perfectly with my skin. So I need to go up for under eyes because I'm not getting any highlights. But the description for this concealer says that it is a multi-purpose concealer that highlights and conceals while providing 24 hours of hydration and comfort with medium buildable coverage and a flawless radiant finish. And it says that this concealer was mirrored after their award-winning Luminous Silk foundation, which happens to be an absolute favorite of mine. And this concealer contains glycerin, caffeine, vitamin E, and again, it provides 24 hours of hydration while diminishing dark circles and reducing puffiness around the eyes for a flawless second skin effect. This concealer also has soft focused pearls and naturally derived emollients that diffuse fine lines for a smooth, even coverage and a lit from within glow. That's a lot. We gonna see. But here's what the concealer looks like. It is definitely modeled after the Luminous Silk foundation. It looks very similar to that, except for it's a little mini version that's a little bit longer. And on the actual concealer, it doesn't have any writing. It doesn't say Giorgio Armani. It doesn't say Luminous Silk Concealer. It just has a frosted plastic type bottle, but it does have their logo here on the cap. And the actual applicator is an arrow type applicator that has the flat doe foot type vibe, but it is flat on both sides. So let's go ahead and get into the demonstration, and then I will give you guys the initial scoring immediately following. So stay tuned. So let me go ahead and put on my concealer. Let me blend her. Ooh, that disappeared in the skin, honey. Let me blend it out under my eye. So that blended out really easily. I am going to go back in with just a little bit more. I need some more coverage. That looks really pretty and fresh. So here's what it looks like not set. I do want to go ahead and set it though, because this concealer feels very, very dewy. And so I already know the longer and longer that I don't set it, the more and more it's going to crease, and I'm going to have to keep pouncing it to smooth it out. That's what it looks like set, unset. Okay guys, so you see what this concealer looks like with me applying it and with me setting it. So now let's go ahead and score it. So as far as smoothness, I'm gonna give this a 2. I think this concealer is somewhat smooth. I was expecting it to have that same smoothness as the foundation, but I wouldn't say that it has that same fluidity. And it's missing a little bit of the cushioniness that the foundation gives. So I'm gonna rate it a 2. It's not quite as smooth as that. As far as the coverage, again, I'm gonna give this concealer a 2. This one has about a medium amount of coverage, and you can build it up to have about a medium plus amount of coverage. I never really got more than that. As I stated during the demonstration, I do still see through the concealer, so I can see my skin, which I'm okay with that. Every concealer is not supposed to be the most full coverage concealer ever, but if you're looking for that, just know that it's not going to build up too much, and you still are going to be able to see through it, even with the most that you should put on there without it looking cakey. So as far as the dryness of this concealer, it's a 3. This is a very hydrating, moisturizing type concealer. It's a luminous concealer like the name states. It doesn't feel dry at all. It definitely had a lot of slip to it when I was applying it, and it still feels pretty hydrating right now underneath my eyes. Then lastly is the blendability. I'm going to give this concealer a 3. It blended out super easily. I didn't have to go back in too many times to blend it in with my foundation, which is something that I look for. Sometimes concealers, they can tug and they take a while and you see a line of demarcation. This one did not do that. It blended in effortlessly. So now let's do the wear test. I'm going to set my clock for every 2 hours. I'm going to check in over the course of 8 hours, and then I'll be back and we'll do the final score. So stay tuned and I'll see you all in 2 hours. Alright guys, so I am back and it has been 2 hours. So far, I think that my under eye looks okay. It is creasing a little bit more than I would prefer at this time. It's only been 2 hours. As we know, I'm in the crib, so I haven't really gone outside like that. I went outside like right to my patio, and that was it. But not enough for my under eye to just kind of be acting funny like how it's doing right now. I think that my under eye looks a little dehydrated, and it doesn't look as smooth as I wanted to. So I'm okay with it for now. I think that it could be a little bit smoother. It could be a little bit less wrinkly at this point, but hopefully things just remain consistent and don't go downhill, but that remains to be seen. So I'll check back in a few more hours and let you guys see the progress. Alright, so I'm a little bit late coming back to do my check-in. So it hasn't been 4 hours, it's been 5 because I was on live and I was having so much fun that I went way over the time that I typically do for being on live. And so I apologize, but I am back to do my 4-hour check-in, but really it's 5 hours. And right now, I still think that my under eye is okay. I do have a little bit of transference of products down here, and it's creating these little dent-looking things underneath my eyes. Because we all know that my eyes are sensitive, right? So my eyes can have like effects on them to where they water up and create like little droplets. And I feel like this concealer is definitely not waterproof because wherever I have teared up a little bit, you do see the effects of that. But I still want to end at the same time. That way you guys can see the overall wear of it so it's not skewed. So I'll be back. I am back for my 6-hour check-in. I have 2 more hours to go. And my under eye is not looking that great. I think that my under eye looks like it's worn. It's creasing a lot. I don't feel like it's holding up enough. And I felt like that since the 2-hour mark. But even more so now. So I'm really just holding out until that 8-hour mark to wash this off. But overall, I'm not really happy with the way that my under eyes look. Where I applied the concealer on the rest of my face, it's not too bad. So like my forehead and my chin, it's okay. But underneath my eyes specifically, it's not giving me the longevity that I'm looking for. So I'll be back in 2 more hours and we can do the final check-in. I'm back. It's been 8 hours. Let's do the final check-in, shall we? As far as creasability, I'm going to say that this is a 2. It creases a little bit more than I like. It's there. It's creasy a little bit. But I feel like it could have lasted a little bit longer had it not been as thin in consistency. But I do like it, but it does crease. As far as the wear time, I'm going to have to give it a 1. Because, and this saddens me, but after 2 hours, I started to see the creasing, I started to see the separation, and I just wasn't happy with how my under eye looks. And I just think that it could look better. This concealer could have a little bit more thickness. It didn't have to be as serumy. and underneath the eye, it never really gave me a flawless look. And I'm okay with concealers having a thinner consistency. I'm okay with not having full coverage concealers all the time, because I have several not full coverage concealers in my collection that I like, and I feel like this one, it just doesn't really hit that mark. For now, I'm not in love with that Armani concealer. Maybe I'll give it another chance on down the line, but here's the final score for the concealer right now. The concealer that we're trying out today is by Zoeva, and this one is the Authentic Skin Perfector Skin Retouch Concealer. So I picked up this concealer from Ulta. You can also pick it up from Zoeva's website. This concealer retails for $19, and it has 6 milliliters of products, or 0.20 fluid ounces of products. Here's what the box looks like. Very neutral, very on trend with how everybody likes nudes nowadays. And here's what the concealer looks like. So it has a see-through bottle. So I think it looks very simple, but yet at the same time efficient. I like it. You can tell what it is without having to do any guesswork. So I have the color 150 Incarnate, and there are 30 different shades available of this concealer formula. So the description for this concealer says that this is a medium buildable coverage elixir for conquering tired, uneven skin. The Authentic Skin Perfector will leave your complexion feeling positively beautiful and looking authentically you. It is luxuriously creamy, soft, and it instantly conceals any imperfections and blurs the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles while leaving a luminous velvety finish. This concealer is also infused with rose hip oil, and it says that this is designed to nourish our skin. And some of the shade names of this concealer are Absolute, Dependable, Sincere, and Trust. So I'm like, well, why is mine Incarnate? I don't like that. But I'm going to push those feelings aside. So let's go ahead and jump into the demonstration, and you all can see this concealer in action. Let's apply our concealer. Let's blend it out. It wasn't giving me enough, so I added just a little bit more. Alright, so I got that blended out. Here's what it looks like with 2 coats of concealer unset. I am going to go ahead and set. I can tell this is a pretty creamy concealer, so I don't want to make unnecessary creases. So let me go ahead and do that, but unset. So here's what the concealer looks like set. It's very matte, locked in, intact. Alright guys, so I have on my concealer, and here's how the end results look. So it looks pretty smooth, but let's go ahead and do our initial scoring. So as far as smoothness, I'm going to give this concealer a 3. I think it's very smooth in the way that it feels. It feels very silky going on, and it did blend out very nicely. As far as the coverage, I'm going to give this concealer a 2. I would say that it's medium buildable coverage. I did have to build it up just a little bit, as you guys saw in the demonstration, but when I built it up, it did build on itself nicely, so I did get a little bit more coverage than I did with the initial application. Next is the dryness. I'm going to give this concealer a 2. I would say that it's somewhat dry. It's not very hydrating, but at the same time, it's not very dry either. It's somewhere right in the middle. And as far as the blendability of this concealer, again, I'm going to say 2. It blends okay. It's a pretty average blend. It didn't just blend out and magically disappear into my face and give me the most beautiful and easy blend, but it wasn't difficult to blend either, so right there in the middle rows. So I'm gonna wear this around for the next 8 hours. As per usual, I have my alarm set on my phone, so I'll come back, let you guys see what everything is holding up like, so stay tuned. So it's been 2 hours, and I'm ready to come back to do my first check-in, and so far, okay. I think my under eye still looks very smooth from afar, but when I get a little bit closer, I do feel like my under eye does look just a little bit dry. Not a whole lot, but enough for me to note about it. So I'll check you guys then. Hello. So I am back with my 4-hour check-in, and I think my under eye looks pretty cool. It is just a little bit more creasy than it was 2 hours ago. I'm experiencing just a little bit of wear, which is normal, but it's not too bad. I think my under eye still looks bright and it looks lifted, but it does look just a little bit dry, but not too bad, but just a little bit. But we're still good. So I'll check you guys back in 2 more hours, and then after that, 2 more hours. We are now in the 11th hour. No, not really. It's just 11 o'clock, and I'm back for my 6-hour check-in. I think my under eye is a bit dry. Just a little bit. It is creasing. It is separating, but it doesn't look too bad. Again, from afar, we're good. It's up close where you see the subtle nuances of the concealer crack-a-lacking. 2 more hours and I'll be back and we can do the final scoring. It's raining, it is pouring, my old man is over there snoring, and it's been 8 hours. It is now 1:30, so it's really been 8.5 hours. So I'm ready to do my final check-in and give you guys my final score. So creaseability, I'm gonna give it a 2. I don't know if y'all can hear that rain, but it's real loud right now. It's a 2 though. It didn't crease as badly as some of the other concealers that I've tried in this video have at this point, but it definitely isn't smooth like some of the other concealers that I've tried in this video have been at this point. And then as far as the wear time, I'm gonna give it a 2. I think it looks decent. And overall, I think this is just a middle of the road, okay, decent, average concealer. It does its job. It's not going to show up and show out, get employee of the year or anything like that, but it's definitely going to be there on time. It's there if you need it. It's pretty dependable because you can cover some things up, but also it's going to crack a little bit under pressure. So you can't just depend on it to be your right hand man. Like, it's going to be there, but it might not always just give you the best results. I don't have anything more to say. I don't have anything less to say. Here's the final score. So the concealer that we're trying out today is by Too Faced. This is the Peach Perfect Instant Coverage Concealer. It is a matte concealer and it is from the Peaches and Cream collection. And normally I would try to memorize it, but child, the way my memory is set up right now, not today. This concealer retails for $22 and I picked it up from Sephora. This was the last thing that I was able to get from in-store in Sephora. So I was like, oh my gosh, nostalgia. Remember when we could go in the store? This is the only concealer that I'm testing out of this group that is in a jar, so this one stands out just a little bit. But this concealer has 7 grams of products, or 0.24 ounces of products, and here's what the packaging looks like, and here is what the actual packaging looks like of the concealer. So it is in a glass container. I have the color Toasted in this concealer, and the color Toasted is described as a medium with rosy undertones, and I was like, rosy? But it looks golden to me, but they say it's rosy, but to me this looks very yellow. So this concealer offers 17 different shades. So some of the details of this concealer from Sephora's website say that this is a super pigmented waterproof cream concealer that blends seamlessly into the skin for a flawless, soft focus, comfortable matte finish. It says that the coverage of this concealer is medium, the finish is matte, the formulation is cream, and this is formulated for normal, dry combination or oily skin types. And some of the key ingredients of this concealer are hyaluronic acid, which attracts moisture and creates a smooth, youthful looking appearance, porcelain flower extract, and this aids in a comfortable wear and antioxidant benefits, and lastly vitamin E, which nurtures and protects skin. Let's go ahead and get into the demonstration, and you all already know the drill at this point. We're gonna do a wear test, so sit tight. So I am going to scrape some of the concealer out because I don't want to put my sponge in here. I don't want to put my finger in here. So I have a spatula. And this one is an old metal one that I got from MAC back in the day. I don't even think they sell this, but any spatula will do. So I just scraped out like a little swirl. That's the thing about cream concealers and cream products. You can't really measure how much you're using. It's like just a little bit, and then we can always go back. So I'm still gonna blend it out with my sponge. So I'm just gonna take the sponge and pounce it on the concealer and then apply it like that. Okay, I'm picking it up and I'm trying to build it. Ooh, this smells like peaches. With these type concealers, you can blend them in with a sponge, you can blend them in with your finger, or you can blend them in with a brush. It's all up to you. I still prefer a sponge to blend it out as good as I possibly can. That's pretty. I still have some left, so I'm going to take what I have left, pick that up, and then, you know, gradually build it. That looks really smooth and nice. I'm going to go in with just a little bit more right in here, though, just to get that really nice spackled finish. Because this color is lighter, I do want to balance out my chin. So I'm going to go in with my sponge and press my powder because I am ready to set this because it is very creamy. So the longer you let it sit, the more and more it's going to crease. So here's what it looks like set with the powder, and here's what it looks like unset. Alright guys, so I have my makeup completed and here's what we're looking like. So let me go ahead and score. So as far as smoothness, I'm going to give this a 3. It is extremely smooth. My under eye looks just silky almost. As far as coverage, I'm going to give this a 3. I'm going to say it's a full coverage concealer. Especially if you apply this concealer with a brush or if you apply with your finger, you are going to get a lot more coverage initially than I did with me applying it with a sponge. As far as the dryness, I'm going to say this is a 3. This is a very moisturizing slash hydrating cream concealer. And as far as the blendability, I'm going to give this a 3 as well. I feel like it blended out very easily and I didn't have to do too much manipulation to get it going. So far, so good, all 3s. So I'll keep wearing it, setting my alarm as per usual. Again, I'm off to a late start. Ooh, this is the latest I've done so far. Oh my gosh. 5 o'clock. So I'm going to be up. I'm still testing this concealer out for 8 hours. So stay tuned. All right, love. So I'm back and it's been 2 hours and currently I think my under eye has creased a lot. It definitely is not as smooth as it was when I initially applied this 2 hours ago. I do have a headache today. So, you know, I'm really just not in the headspace for it, but I've already started, so I'm going to commit. But I just am not loving the way that this is looking. So, I'm going to hold it out, though. I definitely think this could be saved if I went over it with my sponge right now. But since I'm doing a test, I don't want to manipulate it because I want it to be as true as possible. So, this is what we're looking at right now. It looks okay from afar, but up close, you can definitely see some of the creasing that is going on. But I'll check you all in 2 more hours and give you guys the update. Alright guys, I'm back and it has been 4.5 hours and I'm here to do my second check-in. So right now my under eye is still a little creased. I am going to say that it's the same amount of creasy as it was before. Not really any new developments. You may see some slight creasing right here around the bridge of my nose, but I'm not counting that because I do have on my glasses because like I said, I did get just a little bit of a headache earlier today. I feel a little bit better, but still it's not all the way there. It's like sinuses and stuff like that, but you know how that goes. But right underneath here, it's just a little bit dry. I'm going to check you guys in 2 more hours and let you guys see the developments, but so far, it's okay. Alright, so I am back and it has been 6 hours. And so far, I feel like my under eye has creased a little bit more. I just want to take my finger and smudge it out because I know that this product has the will to do so. I feel like it could be saved, but like I said before, I'm not going to do that. But it did crease early on and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And I see where some of the concealer is not covering spots on my under eye still. So there's that. But we'll come back, reassess things, and I'll give it my final score in 2 more hours. Alright guys, so it has been 8 hours and I'm back to do my final check-in, and I feel like you can tell by my face and my voice that I am not 100%. But anyways, let's talk about our final thoughts and let me give you guys the final score. So as far as the creasability of this concealer, I'm going to rate it a 1. It creases like a mofo. And I feel like I did not put that much concealer on for it to crease the way that it did. But because it's a concealer that's in the jar, sometimes those concealers are a little bit more creamy than other traditional liquid concealers. And so you get the creases. Even though it's creased up really bad, I still am going to give it a 2 because I feel like the look is savable and it doesn't look bad from far away. It's just really creasy looking up close. Overall, I feel like my makeup looks okay. It looks decent. It could look better. So say for instance, like I mentioned a few times, here's my sponge. This could be so much better if I just could have gone like this today and it would smooth everything out. And sometimes concealers just need a little bit more reinforcement and they just are not going to last by themselves. Some formulas are like that. And I believed that this formula was like that. And with me doing that and seeing it smooth out the way that it did, it proved my point. I do want to note though that this concealer does smell heavily like peaches, and that scent lingered on my face for about an hour and a half. So it wasn't something that went away. So if you have a sensitivity to smell, or if you're a person who is super against fragrance in cosmetics, this smells like peaches for real. I'm going to use this concealer to clean up around my brows and not necessarily underneath my eyes. And that's pretty much how I use all concealers that are in jars, because I feel like they're a little bit heavier for under the eye. But that's all. Here's the final score for this concealer. Woohoo! We are at the last concealer that we're going to be testing in this video, and I feel so accomplished. Every single time when I get to the end of a battle video, I feel like a weight has been lifted off of me. You know that feeling when you're done writing a paper for school, or you're done accomplishing something, or if you finally lost like 5 pounds or something? That's how I feel when I'm done, so I'm excited. So today's concealer is the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Concealer. I feel good. This concealer has really nice and sleek packaging. It retails for $34, and this concealer has 0.2 fluid ounces of product, or 6 milliliters of product. So the color that I have in this concealer is Beige, and that is B-E-E-C-H. I'm like, really? Beige, really? The shade description of this color is medium with yellow undertones. And this concealer has 22 different colors. So the description for this concealer from Sephora's website says that this is a full coverage, weightless, and waterproof concealer with micro spherical powders that blurs and brighten for up to 16 hours of perfection. The coverage amount of this concealer is full. The finish is natural. The formulation is liquid. This crease resisting, light reflecting concealer blends seamlessly into skin and diffuses the look of pores and fine lines. The highly pigmented formula evens skin tone to conceal the appearance of dark circles, blemishes, and other imperfections for a smooth, natural, and airbrushed finish. But I know this concealer has had a lot of hype behind it, and I'm happy to be finally testing it on my channel because I've had this for a while, at least since January-ish. So I've been holding it, and today we are putting it to the test. So let's go ahead and jump into the demonstration, and then of course I'm going to score it. So let's go ahead and apply our concealer. Okay. I'm ready to blend. Ooh, easy blend, very highlighted. Now let me blend out with my sponge. Okay, so I blended this out. This is giving a lot of coverage. As you all can see, the color that I have is a little bit light. So I'm going to try to bring it on down. But I think that it looks really nice and smooth so far. But this is what it looks like unset. Zap, zap, zap. Alright, so here's what that looks like with just the setting powder underneath. Again, I'm going to have to go in and bronze and all that stuff like that to try to balance everything out. But so far, it looks smooth. Alright guys, so I have the concealer applied and all of my makeup finished. So I like the way that it looks so far. I feel like I look very, very glam. You know, anytime you have a full coverage concealer that's a little bit lighter, I always feel like that. It looks a little bit more snatch-like. So I'm not mad at it. But let's go ahead and do the scoring. So as far as the smoothness, I'm going to give this concealer a 3. It is very smooth in its formulation. As far as the coverage, 3. This is a very full coverage concealer. As far as the dryness of this concealer, I'm going to rate it a 2. It is a somewhat dry type formula because this is a waterproof concealer. Once you apply it, it does start to dry down and you can feel it a little bit. And as far as the blendability of this concealer, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3, and I'm going to give it a 3 because if you go ahead and blend it out when you initially apply it on the face, it blends out like butter. Now, like I said, this concealer is just a little bit drier. So if you let it dry down too much, it can get stiff and it will settle in place because this concealer is supposed to be waterproof, budge proof. So if you let it dry down, it can get unmovable. But if you go ahead and work with it as you're doing it, don't apply it and just let it sit there like you can do with some concealers, I think that you'll get better results and you'll be able to blend it like butter. Let's go ahead and do our wear test. I'm setting my alarm. Your girl is up very early today. It's like the crack of dawn for me. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Who am I? I know. Like, who am I? Seriously. So I'll come back and do check-ins and let you guys see how everything is going. Okay, so I am back and it has been 2 hours. I ate a little bit of breakfast. I did a little bit of straightening up. Just a little bit, responded to some emails, and now I'm back to give you guys a check-in, and so far so good. I'm experiencing minimal creasing. I feel like my under eye is a little bit sleepy because I am very sleepy. I only got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep yesterday. I did not sleep well at all, but this concealer is masking that. I don't feel like it's showing that at all, but I'll check back in a few more hours and let you guys see the update. Like I said several times in this video, at the 4-hour mark, I really feel like the concealer is going to show its true colors. So, we'll see. Check you guys in 2 more. What's up? So, I'm back and I had to take a nap because I was very, 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 very sleepy. So, here we are. It's been 4 hours. Oh, my grenade is calling me. Hold on. This is my 4th hour check-in. My under eye, after the nap I just took, is still popping. My under eyes are a little bit swollen because I just woke up, but this concealer is not cracked though. It's still there. I wish my color was a little bit darker still. I do feel like this color is lighter, and now that the sun is not the morning sun, it looks real dramatic. But that does not speak to how this concealer is wearing. This concealer is wearing exceptionally well, and this is the only concealer that I've fallen asleep in, and it still looks good even after doing that. So I'm kind of impressed, but I'll be back in 2 more hours and let you guys see the update. I'm back and it's been 6 hours, and today I'm truly struggling with being productive and getting up and not feeling sluggish and sleepy. It's one of those days, but I feel like I picked the right concealer to feel like this today with, because my under eye has never looked better. I think my under eye looks exceptionally smooth. The concealer has gone nowhere, especially since my right eye refuses to stop watering right here in this little crack right here. It just continues to just well up and just get on my nerves overall, but the concealer has not moved. The concealer has barely cracked, and that's with me taking a nap, having a ridiculously irritated eye, and with me laying on the couch going like this constantly. Like, this concealer is here for the long haul, so I'm here for it. So 2 more hours and I will have had this concealer on for 8 hours today. Hello, I am back and it has been 8 hours. I feel like I look like how I feel today. Today was another struggle day, but you know what? I made it through. I persevered. If you look up the word persevere in the dictionary, I'm going to be sitting there like this, because I wanted to give up so many times on this trial today because I was not feeling it, but I already committed, and once I commit, that's it. So I got up and I thought I was going to be productive. It did not happen. I went back to sleep with this makeup on, you know, because I had gotten up to film the initial part of the video, and I got a good 2-3 hour nap in. I woke up, I was like, okay, little makeup is still on, and then my eyes have been bothering me because it is allergy season. Allergy season. For no reason. So my eyes have been tearing up, and let me tell you something. Through my eyes tearing up, my under eye concealer has not budged. There's no streak where the concealer is, but right up underneath where I put that concealer, it's a big old streak. Yes, that's crazy, right? That's been my day. So now let me go ahead and give this the final scoring. So as far as the creasability, 3. This concealer did not crease at all. Even through everything that I just explained to you guys that I went through today, my concealer is still on and going strong. And as far as the wear time of this concealer, if this could get more than a 3, I promise you I would give it that. But I'm highly impressed. This concealer is a little bit drier. That's the only thing that's holding this back from getting a perfect score, because other than that, this concealer lasts. So if you have a problem with your concealer transferring, or if you have a problem with your concealer not staying throughout the day, these birds won't let me be great outside, then you might need to try this concealer. So I like it a lot. It's just very glam and it's very light. I probably am going to get a darker color, but that's it as far as the testing. I feel so accomplished. I'm going to be back tomorrow. We're going to start over tomorrow, okay? And then tomorrow, I'm going to give you guys the roundup, share the final scores, see which concealers come out on top. And then on top of that, I'm going to rank them from which ones I personally enjoyed using from least to most, okay? So I'll check you guys tomorrow. We made it. Hi, everybody. I'm back. You remember me from the beginning of the video? Yes. I'm here again. I told you all I would be back, and we are all the way at the end of this video, and I hope that you all have enjoyed this battle of the concealer video, because I certainly have, and I always feel just so good when I'm done with this. This makes me feel so accomplished. You all know that feeling that you have on the last day of school. It's like, whoo, I'm so excited that I'm finished with school, but oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss my friends. That's how I feel. I feel like I need to give out some superlatives to these concealers, so let's go over all of them. Cute Boys to Men. How do I say goodbye? It's so hard. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I have tallied up all of the scores. Let's rank them by score first. So you all already know which ones had perfect scores. And so it comes as no surprise that in the first slot is a tie. The two concealers that occupy the #1 slot are Pat McGrath's Sublime Concealer and the Dior Forever Concealer. And I was highly impressed with both of these, so I'm not surprised. In the #2 spot was the Hourglass Vanish Concealer, which scored a 2.83, which is so close to perfection, but not yet. But it did wear well, so it is a close runner-up, and I enjoyed wearing it. #3 is the Too Faced Concealer, and this one scored a 2.5, and that's really good for it to be the type of concealer that it is, because it tried real hard and it put up a good fight, but it came in 3rd place. And next is something that I have never had happen before. I have 3 concealers that have tied with themselves to earn a score of 2.17. When I was calculating everything, I was like, wow, all 3 of these concealers have the same score. So I have a 4th place winner, and these concealers are in that slot. So I don't have a 5th, 6th, or 7th, because I have 3 concealers in 1 slot, and then I have 2 concealers that have won the 1st slot. So I thought that that was really funny. So with that being said, I knew that it was of the most importance for me to rank these concealers based on my preference, because I had too many that were tied. But this was kind of hard for me to do because I was going back and forth between a few for a while. But I feel like the undisputed champ for the #1 slot is the Pat McGrath concealer, because Pat McGrath's concealer is magical. I have it on today, and this concealer just glides on and gives you the most beautiful coverage, and this one is the most deserving of the #1 spot. But I will say that Dior is coming in at a close second. Honestly, if I did not have the Pat McGrath concealer, I would be comfortable with saying this one is my #1 concealer in my collection. But as of right now, Pat McGrath has taken over my entire concealer game, and this one is my favorite concealer that I own in my entire collection now, and I believe Dior is right next to that. So these have just knocked everything off the list. These are just amazing products, and like I said, Dior is right behind Pat. But you know, Auntie Pat is just going to come through with something a little bit more magical. Plus, the color of my Pat McGrath concealer matches me a little bit more closely than my Dior, but both of them are fabulous products. #3 is my Hourglass concealer, and I really like this concealer, and I was so impressed by how long wearing this concealer was, especially for how I felt the day that I was testing it out. Like for 2 or 3 days of this video, I didn't even feel the best, but I had already committed and I wanted to finish out this video strong. And one of the days that I used this Hourglass concealer was one of those days I was kind of like, my sinuses, and I took a nap and I looked like what I had been through. And this concealer held up, and I even said in the video, like, my eyes won't stop watering, but even still, like with my concealer, you can see where the tear was coming through, but the concealer was untouched. So I've never tried such a thing, and this concealer is pretty good. Number 4 is my Too Faced concealer, and I really like this one, but like I said, it does smell like peaches. It was a little bit too fragrant for me right there, but I really do enjoy concealers in the pot around my eyebrows because they typically are a little bit more creamy and they let you blend them out a little bit better. Plus, this color was just a little bit lighter than my complexion, so I used it underneath my brows today and I love it. So number 4 for around my brows, not necessarily for underneath my eyes. 5 is the Luminous Silk concealer. And let me say this. So Luminous Silk foundation is my number 1 foundation that I love in my collection, period. And so when I saw that they were coming out with the Luminous Silk concealer, I was like, mine, period. It has to come home. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But when I tried it, I wasn't as wowed as I was about the foundation. And mainly that's because I feel like this concealer performs and functions almost identical to the foundation. And with the concealer, it's like I need a little bit more grip, and it's silky like the foundation, so it's not a bad product. But when trying to use it as a concealer underneath my eyes, I'm getting a lot of creasing. And if I wanted a formula that was identical to the foundation, then I would just use the foundation. So that's to say, this is not a bad concealer, it's just the same as the foundation to me. Like, there's not really a huge difference there. So I'm definitely going to use this all over my face, but as far as under my eyes, I'm not really a fan. So number 6 is the Zoeva concealer, and this concealer is just okay. So it didn't do a very good job, it didn't do a very bad job. It was just there and it did what it was supposed to do, but it didn't leave me wowed. And if I weren't doing this video where I'm recapping everything and I'm actually trying it out, I honestly would have already forgotten about it. And that's because it's not very memorable. So if you need a standard concealer to do what it's supposed to do, here. But you're not really gonna have an extraordinary experience when using it, in my opinion. And lastly is the Beautyblender Bounce Concealer. And with a name like this, I was thinking this was going to be just super whipped and just like a moussey-like concealers. And this concealer to me started out on a good note. So I applied it, I was like, okay, this is looking good. At first it was scoring 3s, but then 2 hours in, I shouldn't see creasing. And like I said, there were constants in this video. So you can't say that this concealer creased for a different reason than the other ones did, because I did the same exact routine every day. So therefore, each concealer had the same opportunity to perform in the same way. And this concealer just did not live up to my expectations. And I was ready for it. I was like, this is gonna be interesting. But no, this concealer I think was a big letdown. And I wasn't expecting it to fail like that because it started out so strong. So I don't know if I'm gonna even use it anymore because it's just like meh, meh. All the other concealers were pretty cool, and definitely Pat McGrath goes into the Hall of Fame for sure. I already know that's going to be my yearly favorites video. But let me know which one was your favorite down in the comment section. I cannot wait to see what you guys have to say. Thank you all so much for being so patient about this video. I know that it has taken me quite a long time to get it up, but like I said, a lot goes into this, and I know that you all enjoy them, but I want to make sure that I'm as thorough as possible. So here we go. Let me know if you guys want me to do any more battles, but do keep in mind that if I do battles, and I did say if I do battles, it does take me a while to complete them. So I'll check you guys down in the comment section, and I will talk to you all in my next video, which will be super, super soon. Smooches. Bye.